Welcome, 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 everybody. I hope you're having a fantastic day. I also want to really feel into the reality that's surrounding us right now. I have a show planned for you about having a money story breakthrough. And that reality really hit me this morning in a very interesting way. I'm going to share that with you. I'm Julie Steelman. You're listening to Richly Abundant Women on Transformation Talk Radio's Wealth Channel. And stay with me for the next hour because we're going to have a lively and a very reality based discussion about why it's time for a women's wealth revolution, about how we can shift our inner money story so that we can produce the kind of outer results we know are possible and start changing our financial destiny today. And so every second and fourth Thursday of the month at 9 a.m. Pacific, we're going to dive into radical shifts in thinking. We're going to evolve our financial frameworks, and we're actually going to get some reality checks. We're going to have one of those today. So we can get busy building wealth, creating financial freedom, and becoming the financial influencers of the world. I can't wait to watch you have financial breakthroughs in your business and create meaningful, rich abundance for yourself. And so, welcome to today's episode, which is about having a money story breakthrough. And boy, am I sitting on the hot seat with this. I wanted to tell you it's not even been an hour since I received an email, and you may hear me get emotional about this, that my trip to India has been canceled. I was going to be there for the entire month of April, photographing leopards and tigers. We've planned this meticulously for a really long time, and it's bigger than just traveling. It's bigger than that. It's my soul food, as most of you who know me, to be in the bush, to be around big animals. And one of the poignant things that happens for me around big animals is a story that really is going to lead into the conversation that we're going to have today. I remember being in Africa and finding a female lioness ensnared in a trap. And she wasn't being hunted. It was that she got entangled in a trap accidentally. There are tribes that are allowed to hunt in specific wildlife areas because it's really their tribal land. And so this was accidental. And I want to let you know she did get out of the trap. But what it made me think of is us as women and our relationship to money, and that we all are carrying some type of money story that's limiting us in some way, even if we earn high 6 and 7 figures. And her being trapped in this snare, really, in watching her struggle to get free, was this metaphor that started to come alive for me about these money stories that we carry, the assumptions, the beliefs. We talked a little bit about this in the last episode, but I want to dive more fully into it about what happens in our reality and then what we make it mean, and then how that limits our flow. So I'm thinking about this lioness trapped in a snare and realizing that a lot of my clients and my colleagues and my friends are high earning entrepreneurs. Almost all of them are entrepreneurs. Not very many work in corporate. I was sort of the only one who was in corporate, but you knew I was on the journey to it to escape as quickly as I could. And I'm watching her be bound and trapped in all of this. And it really brought this metaphor alive of how trapped we can get in our money stories, or when financial hurdles or challenges show up, what we make them mean. And that's how we keep ourselves stuck in sort of never getting ahead financially, making just enough money, always having to chase new revenue streams, always having to launch new products, being faced with or tasked with the things that we view as unpleasant, like getting our clients to pay a late bill, asking for money, selling, pricing. Like, all of these things are the money generating aspects of our business. And how we're holding it on the inside is what I'm calling our money story. It's our narrative and how we view and look at the financial challenges that constantly keep coming. So I had one this morning. It's not even been an hour and a half. So, of course, I spent a lot of money. I have my airfare, I have the trip costs. They were all paid a year ago. And my trip got very complicated because originally I was supposed to go to Africa and then we were going to travel from Africa to India. And I kept feeling this intuitive sense that something about that wasn't quite right. Like it was a bit unsettled. So I did something I don't normally do. I didn't buy trip insurance. And normally I do. And of course, my trip is now canceled because of the coronavirus. And the Indian government has just decided in the last 24 hours that all visas are suspended until April 15th. And that means that's too late for us to go in. It affects our lodging. I'm open to a miracle, just saying. But because I had this feeling that something about the Africa portion was going to shift, I didn't buy insurance. And as a matter of fact, the Africa portion did shift. And I ended up going in September to have a rare encounter with six cheetahs and tell a very big conservation story that I otherwise wouldn't have been able to tell. So Africa got moved to September 2019 instead of March 2020. And now it's just India. Well, I'm not going now. The trip's been canceled and I'm going to lose all my money because the trip insurance that I have won't cover what I need it to cover. And trip insurance doesn't cover this type of unforeseen circumstance. So I would have had to buy the clause that's cancel my trip for any reason. So now I'm faced with a financial hurdle, right? And I could really go down the rabbit hole of making myself wrong. I should have known this was coming. I should have done better. I should have bought that trip no matter what. Excuse me. I should have bought the insurance no matter what, right? You can see all the opportunities to make wrong. And this is what we do as women that drives me crazy because we've really been told, excuse me, I'm going to take a sip of water. We've really been told that somehow, some way, conflict happens around us or financial challenges happen around us because we should have been better. We should have known something more. We should have been more educated. We should have been smarter. We should have seen it coming, right? Like there was some inherent way that if we were good enough, if we were better, if we were smart enough, if we were good with money, right? Is any of this resonating? If we were good with money, then we wouldn't be faced with financial challenges. And they come at us in all kinds of different ways. So it can be the loss of something, it can be the change of something, it could be that a financial need comes flying in and we need to cover that expense. And so we run out to launch something, to offer something, to sell something, to somehow generate the income as entrepreneurs to cover it, right? But we always end up with never more than enough. And so we make ourselves vulnerable to another financial challenge or hurdle coming at us. And so we run our businesses in a way where it feels like we're constantly bombarded with financial hurdles and challenges. And so I just want to pause here for a second and say, to take a breath around this, because there's so many implications of the impact and effect of this virus. For all the people who have been impacted health-wise, who've lost family members or lost their life to it, and all of the big impact on businesses, and a lot of them are entrepreneurial businesses, travel companies, lodges, bookstores. I was talking to a friend of mine who owns a bookstore, and she said the traffic is basically no one's come through the door. And so let's just take a moment here to think about the impact that this is a global financial impact on many businesses around the world. and some are having booms, right? Because everybody has to go buy millions of rolls of toilet paper in case the supply chain dries up. You can't get toilet paper at Costco. Okay, I didn't think it was quite that serious. But we also look at the other side of that, right? Is like how the big fear plays out around this challenge, that we're going to go hoard everything, right? We're going to buy everything off the shelf because we're afraid of running out. And so we spend, right, in reaction to the fear. And then there's other businesses that are completely drying up because we don't want to go be out in public or we don't want to go to that store. And so I'm not sure what the answer is to this. I think there's a lot of panic. I don't really know the implications and I don't profess to know the implications. I tend to be an optimist. So I've been standing in radiant health and well being and being a stand for radiant health and well being. And the biggest reason that I want to talk about money with women and have you help you have this shift in your business and have financial breakthroughs and change your financial destiny is because it's all rooted in well-being. Well-being for us, well-being for the planet, well-being for all concerned. And so I just want to take a moment to just really pause and think about our state of reactiveness to this because it takes us out of being creative. And so here I am sitting this morning with this challenge going, I don't know if I can do my show. I'm so verklempt, I can't even speak. I wanted to cry my heart out because I don't get to go do what I love because of it right now, anyway. Someday this will clear. Someday this will lift. Someday we'll get to go back. But I don't get to go and I don't get to do what I love. And I also keep myself safe and I don't become part of the community that's spreading the virus. So those are positive things as well. So there's just huge levels of impact. So when we think about that, I think about what could I have done with this? I could have made myself wrong. I should have bought the trip insurance. I should have bought it right away. I should have bought the cancel for any reason so that I'm not losing, 5 figures in money. I'm not worried about the airfare. I can work with the airline. It's a small change fee. I can use the flight later. Not worried about that piece of it. And there isn't any money coming back. Lodges don't refund money. The people that I'm traveling with, this isn't their responsibility. And I could say, it's my fault. I didn't buy travel insurance in the right way. And you know what? I didn't. And I did that based on an intuitive knowing that something about the trip was going to change. And so what I did about it, instead of making myself wrong, is I went and got educated. If I'm ever in that situation again, what's the right way to do this? And now I know how to do it. And I won't go into all the details of that, but we're going to turn this into a working session because I think this is something really, really powerful that we need to address. And we need to look at the way that we relate to financial challenges. And that's really what our money story is how are we looking at financial hurdles constantly coming to us or big losses? One of my postures that I hold that's part of my money story is that financial losses are charitable contributions I didn't know I was going to make. And I bless them and I let them go because otherwise I'm bound by it. And being bound by it, whether I'm in fear chasing money or I'm in fear trying to hoard products, thinking that we're going to hit a place of lack because of this virus and there won't be any toilet paper, right? Or I'm in any way, shape, or form reacting to what's happening, it takes me out of one of my biggest feminine superpowers, which is to be creative and co creative. So, in the rest of our time together, we want to shift this. So, we're going to go to a quick break. I want you to stay tuned. And while we're on break, I want you to take out your journal and I want you to answer these two questions. When it comes to money, I always, and I want you to fill in the blank. And when it comes to money, I never. So just journal that while we're on a break. We're going to come back. I'm going to share a powerful story about how a client of mine broke through this and about how you can break through this. And we're going to have some fun with this. Enough about the coronavirus, but let's talk about the impact that these kinds of things have on us personally, professionally, as entrepreneurs, and as women, and change the way we author our narrative going forward so that we can be in power and we can use our creativity to move through these things and not be bound by them. So stay tuned. We'll be back shortly. Welcome back. You're listening to Richly Abundant Women with Julie Steelman. Let's get back to this topic of how we can have a money story breakthrough. Before the break, we were talking about how I've been recently deeply impacted by a cancellation trip due to this epic spread of this virus, and how these kinds of things have big financial impacts on us that we don't foresee coming. And that the way that we relate to them or the way that we frame them or position them in our mind can really have an impact on whether we do well with it and how we might be able to easily let it go and move on and stay in our creative power. And I want to let you know that if you're listening to this while you're driving and or you want to take this a lot deeper, you can go to www and you have to type the W's www.moneystorybreakthrough.com, and you can enter your email address and download a quick document that'll walk you through this process in another way that's really going to give you some levity and allow you to discover where and why and how you're holding money that's having you limited in your flow and your supply and your business. And so I hope that you took me up on the opportunity to journal about and finish the sentences. When it comes to money, I always, and when it comes to money, I never. Because what that's going to do is help us uncover some stuff. So I want to share a story of a client of mine with you about this. She she called me up one day, as I have a tendency to have my clients call me up sobbing, and I know that we're facing a financial challenge, right? That's one of the ways that we as women, is part of our relationship and our and how we relate to money, is as it's a breakdown, right? And what we want to do here today is have a breakthrough. And we're going to turn this into a bit of a working session. So while I'm listening, feel free to keep answering the question. When it comes to money, I always, and fill in the blank. And when it comes to money, I never, and fill in the blank. And so she called me up crying, like, what's wrong? And she said, I absolutely love what I do and I absolutely hate to sell. And it's this huge conflict for me and I don't know what to do about it. And so I started to ask her some questions. And I said to her, answer these for me. When it comes to money, I always. And her reply to that was, when it comes to money, I always feel really bad asking for it and wanting it and trying to figure out how to get it. Okay, got it. And I said, fill in the blank on this one. And I asked her, when it comes to money, I never. And she said, I never, ever, ever want to sell again, but I absolutely love being of service to my tribe. And I said, okay. She's like, I can really hear that I have a conflict in here. And I said, yeah, you do. And I said, tell me what's underneath that. And she said, my mom always told me that it was rude to talk about money. And I go, got it. And so, what did you make that mean? And she said, I made that mean that anytime I have to ask for money or talk about money or think about money or want money, then I'm bad and wrong. And I'm like, okay, can you see how that money story, how you're holding this and how you set it up, that every time you think about money, ask for money, want to create some money, you get hung up on feeling bad and wrong. And it creates this loop that you can't get out of. And so financial challenges were going to naturally occur as a breakdown. She's like, wow, I never thought about it that way. And I'm like, yeah, that's what happens, unfortunately. And so tell me what this is costing you. And she said, what this is costing me is my livelihood because what I'm doing doesn't feel sustainable. And every time I know that bringing in my clients and them paying me and them making a financial commitment to the work I need them to do is the right thing. But I can't ever hit my stride. And I feel like I avoid selling and I put it off until I gotta have some money because that pressure has me go sell. And so I'm feeding off the pressure. I'm like, yeah, you're feeding off the pressure, but you're also feeding off the fear of the financial challenge that you're going to run out of money unless you go sell. And she's like, that's exactly right. That's exactly right. This is exactly how this lives inside of me. And so, what I'm going to take you through and work you through is how we got her out of this. And so, this is the kind of inner dialogue that has us stay really stuck and create what I call a financial glass ceiling, even if we earn 6 and 7 figures. And one of the biggest problems with this whole setup is that we've already bought off on an idea that when it comes to money, I always fill in the blank. Might be I'm always spending everything I make. I'm always undercharging. I'm always over giving and under earning. Or I never keep any of it, or I never keep enough, or I never charge the right price and I feel resentful. So see how that sets us up. It's a non-prosperous type of inner experience. And how we are relating on the inners on our inner world is the experience that we're having in our outer world. And so the two are directly linked to each other. So even if we're making 6 and 7 figures, we might never get ahead. We might never keep enough. Might not be charging enough. And so we might be making 6 figures, but we might really resent our clients because we're not keeping any of it and we're not getting paid enough. And so you see how this deeply affects your well-being. It costs us so much more than the money. Frankly, it's costing us a fortune energetically, spiritually, mentally, physically, professionally. It's costing us the cash flow, but it's costing us our well being. And that's why we got to break up with our money story. You with me? Great. So here's the thing, this goes deeper than just knowing what our assumptions are and our beliefs and what is our always and our I never in relationship to money. It doesn't allow us to even get to what we yearn for. And all this junk on the top, right? We're trying to manage all of that. And so our business becomes about managing financial hurdles and trying to keep our emotional state and our energetic state in a place where we're okay enough to keep handling the financial hurdles and challenges that just keep coming, right? It's like tennis balls being spit out of an automatic machine, they just don't stop. And that's part of being in business. But what if there was a way to smooth out the ride? Because what I want to do across the course of the show and all the episodes is take you on a journey where you get to the place where your cash flow is streamlining, where it's having you keep more than what you make, and it's having you build wealth. In a few upcoming episodes, we're going to talk about how to develop a wealth building business model. But for now, we got to move all this junk out of the way so that we can get there. So just taking a breath on that. Yearning. The tagline of this show is shifting from yearning to powerfully earning. So how are we going to do that? We got to make a shift here. The first thing is that we have to put our first focus and attention on what do we yearn for? What is it that we want to create? So just jot that down now and think about What I really want is financial freedom. I want to be able to have my business, but I would really like to work 3 days a week because I'd like to spend the other days with my kids. Or I'd like to travel. I'd like to have my clients meet me at international destinations for our private coaching sessions. Or I want to do everything online. I want everything to be automated because I have this whole other passion project that I want to do. And I don't want to spend one on one time, but I need the cash flow, right? So we have to think about what is it that you yearn for? That comes first, right? And as we do that, we start to tune into what is it that we desire? What is it that we require? And I want to just put a pin in it here for a minute and talk about we have to be willing to give ourselves the permission and the audacity to yearn for what it is that we want. Because those of us who may be considered privileged might feel guilty about yearning for things. And clarification here, we're not yearning for stuff. We're yearning for a financial breakthrough that's going to give us the freedom to do X. What is that? What is that for you? For me, I want to be in the bush doing international travel. I want to be on exclusive journeys. I want to be on small, intimate groups. If I can have it be just two people, me and my photography mentor, that's my ideal scenario. And that's expensive because I'm paying for two people, right? But that matters to me because there's a whole lot less people drama and there's a whole lot more interaction with animals because there's fewer of us present. That's my ideal scenario. It costs a lot of money. That's what I want my cash flow for. But I also have a passion project around rhinos and I want to be on the field with the rhinos. So what's yours? What's your passion project? What's that financial freedom bucket list goal that you yearn for? If you gave yourself just this minute to be okay with it, because those things that we yearn for have seeds in them of self actualization. They're the things that take us on these journeys that have us really know who we are and how we can best serve. And some of us being those women that are perceived as having privilege, and a lot of us do, we do have a lot of privilege, right? We have a lot of opportunities opening up to us like never before. The rise in women's spending power globally is hitting $40 trillion, with 83% of women having say so in that money. That's big money. Yet we perceive ourselves as not good with money, being stuck in a money story that has us consider financial challenges as breakdowns instead of opportunities to break through. We got to shift this dialogue, right, ladies? Can you hear yourself in this? I know that sometimes I can go deep, I can be complex. I'm trying to simplify what I'm saying as much as possible and be present with you here in this. And so it's time to give yourself permission to yearn for what you yearn for and to be okay about it. I was unapologetic at a young age that I wanted financial freedom because I wanted to travel the way I wanted to travel and I wanted to have the time, not be being beholden to a boss, to be able to work and spend my days the way that I wanted to. I wanted choice. What are the choices that you want to have that having a financial breakthrough or financial freedom or a breakthrough in your money story would give you? What is that for you? And I just want to offer to you that, again, if you want some hands on help around this, you can go to juliesteelman.com and you can book a consultation with me. And there's also a handout at www, you have to type the W's, moneystorybreakthrough.com. And you can get a little PDF download and work through this process. So, what we want to talk about now is there's this important thing that happens. When we have the audacity and we become unapologetic about yearning for what we yearn for, whatever that is for you, it doesn't have to look like anybody else's dream. It's just your dream. Is that something really powerful opens up. And that is that we get to follow the leadership of our vision. That thing we yearn for comes with a vision. It comes coded with the natural flow of prosperity in it. And when we unlock that, because we're willing to say what I yearn for is, we unlock that whole knowing around that. We can't know it now, but we can know it, when we access it. That's why this is an important part of having a money story breakthrough. It's what shifted things for me is when, as a little kid, watching those videos of Mutual of Omaha's Wild Kingdom, I said I wanted to go to Africa. And this is what shifted for my client that I was telling you about, is we went to what she yearned for. And so for her, what she yearned for was she wanted to make more than enough money. So not only could she build wealth for herself, but so she could take care of sick family members who had no way of earning incomes for themselves and have no other money. And so now when she thinks about generating income, she needs to cover the costs and expenses and income of three people's lives, not one. And so when we tuned into what she yearned for, and she really saw that, she was able to align what she wanted to do with clients and asking for money. And so we took it to the next step, which I'm going to ask you to do as well, which is now I want you to journal the answer to these. When it comes to money, I desire. What is it you yearn for? What is it that you want? What is it that would give you the freedom to maximize your choices and to optimize your well being? And then the second one is when it comes to money, I require. And really think about this, because as business women and entrepreneurs, you can put things in there like a minimum of a profit margin, or that I make decisions in a certain way so that my financial well-being is always well taken care of. So really think about this, and I'm going to give you some examples. We're going to take a short break. This is an opportunity for you to journal. When it comes to money, I desire. When it comes to money, I require. Really think about that. So we're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, I'm going to wrap up the story and tell you about the $250,000 breakthrough my client had because of this, and walk you through how you can have your breakthrough. And we'll be back shortly. Stay tuned. You're listening to Richly Abundant Women. And today we are talking about how to have a money story breakthrough. So if you've been listening, I hope you're having fun with journaling a couple of things that we've been talking about. And so I'll recap really quickly if you just joined us, that earlier in the hour, we were talking about how important it is to have a money story breakthrough, that how we hold relating to and responding to financial hurdles and challenges is the difference between us being in a prosperous mindset and staying in our flow versus shutting down and reacting and being in fear. So, over the break, I hope you had a lot of fun finding out your answers to what I desire and what I require. So, what we're going to do now is talk about this. So, in my story that I was telling you about with my client, when we looked at what she desired and what she required, these were the answers that she gave me. Is what I desire is to deeply serve my community and have incredible financial abundance because of it. Beautiful, right? Very clear. What I require is that anything that I do has a minimum of a $10,000 profit in it. Now, see how that's a really powerful business decision to make, right? Because we want to step up as like our maturity in women as entrepreneurs and have different relationship with money, wealth, and prosperity. And these are some of the things that we have to do. We have to face our growth edges and we have to really be willing to shift. And it's a powerful thing, right? To say, I actually am now a stand for and have an intention that I want to serve my tribe and it's my source of income. And I yearn to provide for family members who need me to pay their bills, right? And so that's a powerful, see how there's creativity in that? It's a powerful come from, right? Instead of, I just want to make $600,000 because I feel like it. That's okay too. It's just that this all of a sudden has power. And so when we talked through this, I said, tell me where you're at now. And she said, I actually am having a breakthrough in this moment because what I see is that in the old way I was holding this, I was looking at selling as something I had to do to get money, and that I was on the hook trying to sell how good I was. And she's like, that made me feel uncomfortable and activated all that stuff my mom told me about. It's not okay to talk about, focus on, or think about money. And she said, when I look at it from the perspective of what I desire and I require, what I'm yearning for here, it's actually very noble and honorable what I want to do. And that this is about, with my clients, the conversation isn't about me and how great I am. The conversation is about how great the work is and the possibility and the breakthrough they can have. And I'm like, you nailed it. So, can you see how this is a shift into knowing what the yearning is and translating that in a way to powerfully earn? That's a money story breakthrough. And so, when you work through this process, you're going to get your money story breakthrough. And so, what we did after that is she saw powerfully how she could be serving her tribe. And that by actually being engaged in the sales conversation was fulfilling her yearning of being able to support her and two additional family members and having more than enough so that they could all live the lifestyle they really wanted to live. And here's what I wanted to tell you about this that's so exciting. After we did this shift, she was so lit up after we finished that phone call. And we did this in one phone call, by the way, just so you know, this doesn't have to take a lifetime. That's one of the things we want to get rid of and move out of our field, is that our financial breakthroughs have to take a really long time. They don't. And so she texted me and she said, I want you to know that as a result of this exact shift, I just closed $250,000 in new business that wasn't already sitting there. In this shift alone, had clients show up, had the right clients show up, and I was able to close deals. And I was actually able to increase my prices and ask for more money because I knew that what they were paying for was the possibility, and that what I was receiving was what I needed so that me and my family could reside in a state of well being. That is a money story breakthrough. And so she stopped looking at selling as a breakdown, as a make wrong, and shifted it to a powerful maturity as an entrepreneur inside her business. And that's what I want for you. So now that you've looked at this, here's the next step that you can take to really anchor this in. This is one of my favorite things to do. And I want you to set an intention to be able to do this because they'll come flying in and they'll be crystal clear. And that is writing a powerful mantra. So I want to take you back to when I was um, entering the workforce, and I was in sales, right? And I picked that career purposely because I wanted to have some control and some impact and some say over my income. And in the first 2 to 3 years of being in corporate and being a salesperson, I think I was nauseous the entire time. Like, I was like, this is a setup for rejection. Why did I do this? And being a sensitive personality, I was already like, I don't know what you were thinking. But I wanted the train, I wanted the ticket to the train out of town, and this was it. So I'm like, all right, what do I need to do about this? And I started to think about it. And I realized that what was making me feel nauseous wasn't that I was actually engaged in the selling process. That wasn't what it was about. It was that I was holding it like I'm here showing up, trying to present a solution for your online advertising needs, but I'm really here so that you can judge me and judge my value and my worth. And so that was the money story that I was running, and that's what I was showing up like, right? And so there was no way to win at that because you're already going in that they're judging you. You're going to fumble through your sales pitch, which I did, and felt awful after I left because now it's a double dip into the doom loop, right? Is they're judging me and I'm judging me because that was awful because I wasn't on my game because I was worried about them judging me. And so I started to think about, I got to do this differently. And the mantra that came to me was, if they knew what I knew, like, feel the power in that. All of a sudden, it was like, if they knew what I knew, they would most likely buy because I'm here to solve their problem and not here for a personal character assessment or assassination. So my money story was, I'm showing up here as a personal assessment and character assassination. Let me just like burn me at the stake now, right? Two, I'm actually here because I've got something powerful to share with you. If you'll give me a few minutes of your time, I won't waste your time, and we can actually probably solve one of your critical problems. Epic shift in power. And it was like, seriously, I didn't go to a therapist. I didn't spend 10 years on therapy on this. I actually used a mantra to really say the truth and the essence about what it was about. So, how can a financial hurdle become a financial breakthrough for you? How can you hold it? Like my story I shared with you this morning about, okay, I just got faced with a big 5-figure loss. Not going to India. There's the emotional heartbreak, there's the financial heartbreak. There's somebody very personal who I adore, I don't get to spend a month with, who I was looking forward to spending a month with. There's all of that. And not make myself wrong for it, for not buying the right trip insurance at the right time, right? So it's just a loss. It is what it is. And in your world, what's the financial hurdle that you're faced with right now? And what's the mantra that you can use? For my India lack of right trip insurance, big loss is going to be, all right, it's another charitable contribution that I didn't know I was going to make. And somehow that money is going to come back to me in some miraculous way, even better than what it was being used for in the first place. And I'm moving on. Whole body, I'm moving on. And my sales career, feeling nauseous, to, if they knew what I knew, changed everything. And I became a peak performer. What's your mantra that will bridge you to getting the what you desire and what you require? I'll give you another example. As I'm working my way, as I got into my later years in corporate, I followed the if they knew what I knew mantra, carried me for a really long time, became a peak performer, started maxing out commission plans. I started getting humongous 6-figure commission checks. And then there was a new mantra that wanted to come in. And I was like, what do I do with this? Because I want to get out of here as soon as I can. And so the mantra that came to me was, the more I make, the more I keep, the faster I get my freedom. And that ran me. And it was about 10 years of that mantra. And at 47, I retired financially free. So I want you to see the power in these mantras. Is like, we can do deep interpersonal work. And yes, do that. But we can also do some things that are super powerful. And that is have a clear and concise mantra that carries an energetic signature in it, the kind that has a resonant feeling tone throughout your whole body, that your mentality is almost shifted the moment you develop that mantra. So you can do pages of writing about what your mantra might be. I would encourage you to follow a highly intuitive path on this. Those aren't mantras that I spent days journaling about. They dropped in as soon as I go, what could my inner dialogue be like so that my outer experience is what I want to have? And that's when they came. And I can't give you a whole lot more instructions on that. See how clear they are, how concise they are, how accurate they are, how they carry that energetic tone. And if you want more help around this, you can go to www, you have to type in the W's, www.moneystorybreakthrough.com. That's www.moneystorybreakthrough.com and enter your email address. That's all you have to do. And you'll immediately get a PDF download where you can work through this process. But find what is your power mantra. You're a woman, you're richly abundant, you're highly creative, you're co creative. Ask for it to come in the sleep state. Set a bedtime intention to receive it. Discover what's the mantra that will have you have a money story breakthrough so that you can get out of this making just enough money trap, not building wealth, having your business be like a constant dodgeball game of trying to move away from financial hurdles and it depleting all of your energy and your creativity, costing your immune system and your nervous system, you know, it's optimal health, and bring money and financial breakthroughs and the way that you run your business into alignment with being a stand for radiant well-being. And that means radiant financial well-being as well. I hope you had fun today. I love to turn these into working sessions, and I want you to have breakthroughs in while you're listening, right? Like, let's do this now, not later. Let's do this now. Go back and listen again. Go to www.moneystorybreakthrough.com. You have to enter in the W's and download the PDF and work this. I want you to come to Richly Abundant Women in our Facebook group and share your mantra. My mantras, I promise you, they carried me to financial freedom because they aligned my mindset with my heart set, with my skill set. They allowed me to maintain my energetic flow. And that's what we all want, right? And so I'm going to leave you with this thought. Tune into what you deeply yearn for financially, for yourself, and for your business. And so here's to you shifting from yearning to powerfully earning. And until our next show, next in 2 weeks, we're going to have on the incredible Shiloh Sophia McLeod. And we're going to be talking about funding the emerging women's wealth revolution. You're going to want to tune in. You're going to want to listen. Shiloh is a force to be reckoned with. Every word that comes out of her mouth is powerful and transformative. So tune in. You're listening to Richly Abundant Women. I'm so thanking you for being here today. I hope you have a money story breakthrough. Thank you for taking the time to tune in, to listen, and to create rich abundance in your business. Please join me every second and fourth Thursday at noon Eastern, 11 Central, 9 Pacific. And I look forward to seeing you back here in 2 weeks. You're listening to Richly Abundant Women with Julie Steelman.